It may be June 2nd, but the NFL has once again stolen the NBA's thunder. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is episode 125 of Championship Rings. I'm Brandon Lewis, host of Brand. That is Ungar to the Max, host of the Sports Room Talk Show. On the bottom, we have Sean Fitzgerald, which you can follow on Twitter/X at FitzOnSports. We were going to have an intro tonight, guys, centered around the NBA Finals, which we'll get to in about 25 minutes. But of course, the NFL yesterday, and it had two big shockwaves involving both of our teams. One of them, of course, being Myles Garrett, which Sean is here to talk about because he is a big Browns fan along with Josh, as well as the inevitable A.J. Brown is finally a New England Patriot. So I'm going to let the two Browns fans, Josh and Sean, go first. Josh, since this is our show, I'll let you start us off. Talk about how you feel.
It was time. This was a year or two too late, honestly. We should have traded him when he requested the trade. I said it hundreds of times or countless times, whatever, that Myles Garrett was becoming the defensive version of Joe Thomas here in Cleveland. Now I know Joe Thomas ended up getting a bust in the Hall of Fame, and he's one of the greatest offensive linemen in NFL history. But how many times did he make the playoffs? 0.
And the goddamn Cardinals in 07. I will forever remember that game in infamy. There's going to have been a touchdown in the back of the end zone, Josh, if you don't remember that game. That's the game that kept us outside of the Colts, just bleeping it up.
Yep. That's the closest Joe Thomas ever got. Otherwise, it was losing season. Oh, here's a new head coach. Oh, here's a new starting quarterback. Myles Garrett went through the same damn thing. Yes, we went to the playoffs twice in 2021 and 2000.
Hey, we won a game during the miraculous pandemic of all times.
Yes.
At Pittsburgh.
And we should have won 2 playoff games, but of course.
Oh, yeah, that hit is going to be up there with Red Right 88 and all the other infamous moments.
Yes, the refs were, of course, favoring Kansas City.
And there's a study out there that actually proves the point. I'm not kidding. You all can go read it.
That was one of the stupidest non-calls I've ever seen, and excuse my French, but I fucking hate the touchback rule. But, Myles Garrett sets the all-time sack record in a single season. Great. Did we have a losing season? Did we have a winning season? No. Did we make the playoffs? No. Did we have a single primetime game last year? No.
Thank God.
And it's most of the time we were trailing when Myles Garrett was doing his damage. Think about this. In the week 8 game or whatever it was in New England, Myles Garrett single-handedly sacked Drake May 5 times.
Yeah, that was impressive in and of itself.
And guess what? We still got absolutely destroyed.
Because the offense was utter shit.
32-13.
I think, what is it? I think I told Brandon this. There's like a 30 or 40 plus year streak going where the Browns haven't won in New England.
I mean, the Browns haven't won a regular season game in Pittsburgh in years. I don't even remember the last.
They've won one within the last 10 years. Maybe
They haven't won one since I believe it's 2002 or 2003.
Oh my God.
It's bad, dude.
But yeah, the Patriots one is probably just as bad, if not for the fact that I think on the next cycle, you're in Cleveland, so I don't think you head back to New England for another couple years.
Doesn't matter. New England still has kicked our ass, whether it's been in Cleveland or here or in New England.
Here's the funny thing. If you don't remember, the one Tom Brady year where they just had this goof game on the Patriots' part and the Browns just demolished them. My younger brother got to go with
2010. I remember that.
My younger brother, I have one younger sibling. Shout out to him. He was a soccer player. He went with a couple of buddies of his to that game. and he got to witness that beatdown. I'm like, oh, come on. Why can't I see that?
Yeah, that was the Peyton Hillis game. But no, most of the time when Myles Garrett was doing Myles Garrett things, the Browns were either losing or nobody was paying attention because the Cleveland Browns haven't been relevant in years. Yes, we made the playoffs 2 times. I still won't say we were relevant.
I'd say we were in 2020. Definitely, we were relevant. We had
you're thinking of 2019 when we traded for OBJ.
No. 2020. You're relevant when you're winning. You went 11-5. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that to that point? If you get what I'm saying, Josh.
But now Myles Garrett gets to go to LA, pair up with the best offense in the NFL, the reigning MVP Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams.
I have a hot take here. I don't think Puka's going to play the whole season this coming year.
Devontae Adams, and Aaron Donald might come out of freaking retirement. So
if I'm him, I'm not sure if I want to reset that clock right now.
I felt like the Rams were the clear favorites prior to this trade. They damn sure are the favorites now. I mean, good
Seattle's
God.
Still really good. They've got Charbonnet, who's going to take over for Walker. So let's not crown the Rams just yet. They are the favorite. You and I both agree on that.
Man. Right.
But dude, Seattle absolutely dismantled the Patriots.
Okay. The Rams would have done the same, and you know it.
Well, the way that you never would have known because, what was it? Wasn't it the Seahawks who dismantled the Rams first?
No, the Rams and Seahawks put on 2 absolute classics in Seattle down the stretch.
No, I'm talking the postseason because there was San Fran and Seattle and LA. I think all 3 made it.
Yes. Right? NFC Championship. That game was not a blowout. The Rams were...
The blowout was Seattle over San Francisco, Fitz.
Correct.
Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yes. So the NFC just continues to get stronger, and I'll say this. I had the Browns only winning 5 games prior to this trade. Now I only have them winning 3. Yeah. And I'll say this. The Browns, the only teams I feel like I can definitively say they are better than are the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets, and the Arizona Cardinals. I cannot say they're better than anybody else. Not even the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, you have no idea how much it hurt my soul when they took Carnell Tate, man. It hurt my soul. But a lot of what you said, I definitely agree with. At least, I was initially disappointed with the pick package return. However, when you keep in mind that Jared Verse was the first opening night selection since Jared Goff in 2016, just 2 years ago, and you can technically, assuming things hopefully don't get this messy, you have at least 4 years of control, 2 years rookie contract, plus 5th-year option, plus assuming you just only do 1 year of a franchise tag before trying to get a long-term deal. Again, that's a very odd scenario, but you have a very young and controllable player, and he's no Garrett, and that's not to knock Jared Verse. He was the 2024 Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Already a 2-time Pro Bowler and really, really good. I am disappointed that, as you said, just now with the comments that Andrew Berry made earlier today, especially, and, some of the comments from the other day where it's like, Myles didn't request a trade this particular offseason. But again, the writing was on the wall. I was just wondering, will it be closer to training camp? I wasn't expecting it to happen yesterday. That's where I was like, oh my God. Because when Schefter put out no words but the 3 sirens, I'm like, oh boy, what the hell happened? When the phone alert came up, I'm like, oh no. Like something went down. It wasn't a gut punch, but I'm like, oh crap. But what the Rams have done really well, though, is they've been able to load up their team still without all those first-round picks. With not
F them picks. That's their mentality.
No, they do really well by hitting on second, third, fourth, and fifths. And I want to credit the right people. I think it was Albert Breer who it was on a podcast that I just, there's a little podcast clip on social media that I was looking at earlier. But like they made a really great point in how, with McVay, it's like having the password to the entire NFL.
They've hit on guys like Cooper Kupp a third round, Braden Fisk, I believe,
Cooper
was second
Kupp,
round.
I love when I could draft him. I could draft Kyron Williams team like in the 13th round. I'm like, hallelujah, baby! It's like everyone else is underestimating him.
Harvenstein, their right tackle, I believe, is no longer with the team. But I think
all the Rams who were with St. Louis before they moved, I think they're all gone at this point.
Yeah, by the way, as much as I love some of their players, like Matt Stafford, I've always been a huge fan of him. And I'm still a fan of Devontae. Kyron is one of my favorites. I love watching him. I will never like the Rams. And that's because of you, Stan Kroenke.
Yes, he gets it.
You absolutely screwed over the city of St. Louis, made the team as
Look at John Fisher in Oakland, too. Screw him for Major League Baseball side of it.
No. Oh, I'm not done, Fitz. As much as I love the LaDainian Tomlinson, he's my all-time favorite player. Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers. The LA Chargers belong in San Diego, damn it.
Exactly. Thank you for saying it out loud. Seriously, thank you. Oh my God. I feel like I've been on that island alone for ages.
No, I've been singing that tune for a while.
Actually, Fitz, I think you're in the way majority. I think it's the complete opposite of that. Anyway, do either of you have anything else to add on Myles Garrett before I go?
It's just more so the fact that the one thing, and Brandon, you know this better than anybody, is, and Josh, I don't know if you've ever heard the clip. About 2 years ago, I was nearly killed in Fairview Park by a reckless driver, and I recount the whole story in a little short clip. I'm not going to miss Myles Garrett from the fact off the field of his speeding, and apparently there's been a whole documentary thing on Netflix that I only was just made aware of like in the last 24 hours.
I'm not aware of it, so
I was just made aware of it. So it's like I need to find out what it is, but apparently I think there is, if what I was told is correct, one of those crashes in Strongsville, because he had a couple recent ones around like speeding or all that around Strongsville, around the highway. But in terms of just having a guy, unlike a Joe Thomas, again, we get it why, and I think they should have traded him last year at this point, because now it just feels devoid for 2026. It's like you can't even celebrate his accomplishment with him because you're not going. He's not going to be even here. That's what kind of sucks to a minor degree. But the fact that as Josh, you hit on that point, they didn't capitalize on the value to the best of their ability. They still get a lot of good value, but you could have gotten better value. And I honestly, I'm all right with the trade. You get Jared Verse, who I didn't think they would have ever given up in a trade like this. It's just still tough to swallow the fact that a guy that you thought was probably one of the few ones that you were hoping would end up, brown and orange entire career, maybe 1 year in a hometown team, right at the end, kind of like a Terrell. I don't know if Terrell Suggs is the right one, but it's like that's what I was hoping for. And it's like, it just sucks, man. It does suck.
He goes from playing every game at 1 o'clock to, I believe it's like 7 nationally televised games.
They have 7 standalone games, it's called. So there's a different language. There's primetime games.
Yeah.
Which are the Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday night. Those are the only primetime games. And then there's the Thanksgiving, the Christmas, the international games. Those are what's called standalone games. And so if you combine primetime and standalone games, the Rams are at 7, which is tied for second in the league.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm still happy that there's barely any primetime games for the Browns this year. Thank freaking God.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got one. Granted, I thought that was going to be the Browns' home opener against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football.
Wait, I thought we didn't play Atlanta week 1. Holy crap! What did I
No,
miss?
no. I'm saying my prediction was that the Browns were going to host the Atlanta Falcons in their home opener in week 2 on Sunday Night Football because of the whole Kevin Stefanski coming back to Cleveland. Think about this, though. There's another similarity between Myles Garrett and Joe Thomas, and I touched on this earlier. How many different head coaches did Myles Garrett have while he was here? Kevin Stefanski,
Steve Jackson, Freddie Kitchens. I'm not counting the interim, by the way. And,
Greg Williams. Nope, you still have to count.
He had 3.
4.
I'm not counting the interims. Jackson.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
And
you kind of have to count Greg.
All right. So basically, like he was he was the D coordinator.
Yes.
Prior to Hugh Jackson getting fired, he
Yeah.
Basically, let's say 3.5 if you want to put it like
that.
Okay.
He had countless head starting quarterbacks. DW4. That's the furthest I will go with him. I will not say his name.
Fuck that bleep.
Yes. Yeah. He's had, let's see, number 4.
By the way, Josh, week 14 is when they host the Falcons.
No, I know.
No, Fitz, he was saying before the schedule came out, he predicted.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Sorry if I didn't make that clear, but
no, that's my fault. I should have understood the context a little better.
All right, hold on, guys. It's 16 minutes and 34 seconds in this show.
And let me say this. People need to just back off on the Brown thing because Philly media, congrats. You got your little paparazzi day.
Okay, now listen, this is not about AJ Brown. This is about Myles Garrett because I have been waiting very patiently and I have not waited this long on this show in forever to say what I'm going to say. Which might surprise you, Fitz, because I'm going to take you back down the memory lane.
Oh, how far into our BSR days? Tell me.
Do you remember week 11 of 2019?
Yes, I do, because Enzo and I went on that next morning.
This was a Thursday.
We have the hotkey queued up, the little siren blare, and it's like, oh no, breaking news. I'm like, I'm on the board.
This was a Thursday night football game between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cleveland.
Oh, I remember this.
You guys remember what happened that night?
As the suspension is announced was fucking golden.
Yep. This was the game that caused the T-shirt. I forget Freddie Kitchens was our head coach. He ends up wearing a damn T-shirt.
Can I still tell a story real quick? I got to interview briefly when I was doing a chat with Joe Schobert during training camp that same year. Myles Garrett popped in. It's like, just from my vibe of the dude, like Rudolph or someone on that Pittsburgh team had to have said something. I'm just shocked that audio never came out. And that doesn't excuse the behavior, but I want to make sure I say that because I almost forgot about that.
My point is, do you remember? I don't even remember. Did I call into your show the next day? Because I don't remember.
Thank you.
But I do remember I had the show the following day at 10 a.m. And do you remember the first thing that came out of my mouth?
Oh, God. I don't think I was able to listen in. I can't remember if I was on RA Rounds that evening or not.
At that moment, I said, this offseason, first of all, I said Myles Garrett should have been suspended the rest of the season. And then I said,
he was, yeah.
And then I said, at that moment, that offseason, the Browns need to trade him now. His value will never be higher.
Well, it was higher after 24, so I'd say that would be the highest.
I disagree. He was in his prime at
He still was. He was at 28, 29 the other offseason.
Yeah. Well, he was in his prime at 23, 24. That's a 4-year age difference. And one of the reasons why you didn't get Jared Verse is a very premium player, but one of the reasons why you didn't get 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett is because on December 29th of this year, Myles Garrett is going to turn 31 years old. And that's
they also traded away the first rounder. What? They traded 2 firsts for McDuffie, I want to say.
Yeah.
No, they traded away their 29th pick of this year's draft.
They traded away a future first as well.
No, they did not. It was a first, third, and a fourth all this year.
Man.
So
the Rams really don't give a crap about
They do. They just know how to draft well in every single other round.
They really don't give a crap about their first-round picks. It's honestly hilarious. And before you continue, Brandon, let me just say this. The strategy that the Rams are utilizing, I don't think many other teams can pull it off.
You need to have great scouting, period.
Like, the only other team that I can think of that has pulled it off to a lesser degree are the Kansas City Chiefs, because they traded up with the Buffalo Bills, not once, but twice, got their franchise quarterback who has gotten them to like 5 or 6 Super Bowls, whatever the number is. And they used their other pick that they got from Buffalo to draft Xavier Worthy. There you go.
So, as Browns fans, you guys are going to hate me for saying this. But until last year, I never thought Myles Garrett was the best edge rusher in football, because I thought he was not overrated as a pass rusher, but I thought he was I thought he was not taken to task enough, is the words I'm looking for not playing the run and clearly giving up on plays. And yes, go back and watch the tape. Myles Garrett would get most of his sacks in garbage time when the Browns were down 20 points. They weren't double teaming him anymore, et cetera, et cetera. And I always made the argument that if you are the great Bruce Smith, Reggie White, et cetera, you impact the game for 4 quarters, no matter if you're getting double teamed or triple teamed. And I will give Myles this. When they finally gave him some help.
Yes, exactly.
Darius Smith, he did have better years, but
Mason Graham, though, was the key.
I thought last year was Myles' best year in his career. And I will say this, for every talk about, oh my God, he's going to be this big game record with the Rams because they're going to have the lead and he's just going to be able to tee off in the fourth quarter. That might be true. And listen, I like Brandon Fisk as a defensive lineman. I think he's a very good player. But besides him, who else is on that defensive line that scares you? You can very easily, with a good offensive line, even on the Rams, slide protection over to Myles Garrett. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's going to have this game-changing impact that everybody thinks, that he is going to be the closer, that he is going to be the difference maker. I actually think Trent McDuffie will have a bigger impact overall on the Rams than Myles Garrett.
It's going to be interesting to watch, because I think you could be right.
The Rams' problem was not pass rush. I mean, Jared Verse was a very good part. By the way, did you guys know, since Jared Verse has entered the week, the top 2 people in pressures in the National Football League, one is Myles Garrett, but guess who is number 2? Jared Verse. And he doesn't even have his man body yet. So my takeaway is...
That's scary. That is scary, at least.
So my takeaway is this, guys. And Fitz, you know, and I've been saying, and Josh, you know, I've been saying it. And Fitz, you and I talked about this yesterday, so I know we agree on it. Todd Monken is a one-and-done head coach.
He
reminds me a lot of David Culley when the Texans. It's like, we'll just hire this old guy because there's no good candidates out there. We'll go.
I'd say he's more like a Dave Trajkowski, good feeling kind of thing, but he's...
You mean Rod Chudzinski?
Chudzinski, yeah.
Okay.
Because there's a Dave here in the Cleveland market among the local media.
But my point is, you are saving, what, $30-40 million on Myles Garrett. You have all this young talent still not being paid yet. Harold Fanning, Quinshon Judkins, Carson Schlesinger, Dylan Sampson, Fano. If one of these receivers works out, I really love the safety.
Boston and McNeil Warren, Daniel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Oh my God!
So
4 first-rounders fall to Cleveland.
So they're going to tank for a quarterback, and I fully believe that they're going to try to not win a single game, because I do believe Jimmy Haslam wants Arch Manning. I believe that in my heart.
He's going to get Arch Manning.
No,
he's going to get Dante Moore.
He's not Jimmy Haslam. He is Jerry Haslam. I will continue to say it.
I believe, because of the Tennessee connections, because of the connections that he does have with the Manning family, that's the guy he wants.
Speaking of Tennessee via Philly and now New England, it's going to be interesting to see, and we're going to segue here, unfortunately, because I wonder what AJ Brown's new contract's going to look like, because breaking news, Drake London, 4 years, 141 million, worth 100 million, including $100 million guaranteed.
Okay. This was the worst kept secret in all of the NFL. I'm honestly surprised the deal actually ended up happening and that another team didn't try to, no pun intended, but another team didn't try to swoop in.
Well, the Rams did try, and then they decided to back out and go after Myles Garrett.
Yeah, but I'm surprised. And okay, not Tennessee, obviously.
I would have loved Jalen Carter, but obviously that wasn't going to happen with Howie
No,
Roseman.
it was not going to happen. I would have gave you guys Nolan Smith.
I would have liked that too.
I think he's a very good edge premium rusher, but no, I'm not giving up Jalen Carter for Myles Garrett, especially with the age difference.
Yeah,
anyway,
I get that.
You guys know before the draft, Fitz, you were on here when we did our draft preview show.
Yep.
I would say, I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver, because I think if the deal wasn't made for AJ Brown, then you probably lose a little bit of leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know the deal was already in place, because they went out and they traded with their arch rival Dallas Cowboys, and they went and got Mekhi Leonard.
That was the shocker, is that them and Dallas made a trade in the
and I was ecstatic because you give me Mekhi Leonard in this new look offense. I am getting excited already.
I am more excited about Denzel Boston than Casey Concepcion, who slipped just a few picks into that second round, dude. Holy crap. He's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, anyway. I don't understand why we took Casey Concepcion.
Well, it sounded like other teams were going to take him right after the Browns, so the Browns
good.
him, and then you still get one of the first rounders that we had.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, my point on AJ Brown is this, and you guys know, I have tended to say in life, don't get very emotional with players. Don't fall in love with players, because after all, this is a business and not all players stick around forever. AJ Brown will go down as one of my favorite Eagles that I've ever rooted for. Regardless,
honestly, he was a great player for that.
Because we got to 2 Super Bowls and we won 1, and I don't think we get to either of them without AJ Brown. And there's a lot of rumors floating around online. Some of them are too hard to believe, and some of them are actually pretty close to the timeline that I do believe, that I don't want to get into right now, about the reason why the Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown relationship did falter. If you guys really want to dive into it, go look on Twitter/X. I'll send you the link of the one I actually do believe is real. It's a wild story, but the timelines match up. I'll say that. But no, I think this deal works out for both sides. I am happy the fact that we got a 2028 first, and I'm actually happier that it is a 2028 and not a 2027, because I think if there is any chance, I think AJ Brown's going to be on his best behavior this year. Now, obviously, we'll see what happens with the Mike Vrabel.
Hopefully he doesn't become a certain other Brown, if you know what I mean.
As things develop. But no, I mean, obviously, I think both teams got what they wanted from this. AJ Brown is going to put up huge numbers in this offense. I didn't know growing up he was a Patriots fan. So, that's another cool element for me. And for the Eagles, they get to save some money that they will absolutely spend on Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and trying to keep that defensive core intact. And, earlier you guys were talking about the Rams and the Seahawks, and Josh was out here trying to crown the Rams.
I'm not forgetting the Eagles, because now I can finally pick them with confidence to win the division.
Oh, well, Fitz, I would actually
the curse is finally broken.
Fitz, I actually would, believe it or not, I actually disagree with you on that. I think the NFC East is wide open. And I think any of the 4 teams could win it. I really do. I think this is going to be a 9-10 win division. I think they're going to beat each other up. But
how well does Harbaugh do? Because I think that them and the Cowboys are going to be the two
it all depends on Malik Neighbors. I mean, there's a reason why yesterday they go on and they signed Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Braxton Berrios off the street.
Well, Berrios being more of a special teamer, but that's a solid signing. And it's all veterans minimum for a couple of those guys. So it's like,
I mean,
my biggest question with the Patriots side of this is
Vrabel.
No, not Mike Vrabel. We watched Drake May absolutely get obliterated last season. we were talking about it earlier when we were discussing Myles Garrett. Single-handedly in that game against New England, Myles Garrett had 5 sacks on Drake May.
No, you're right. I told you in the Super Bowl. I told you I watched the first drive and I knew my prediction was wrong. I knew the game was over.
because I was waiting on your prediction to make mine. I'm like, okay, there we go.
But I did say, if you remember in that write-up, Fitz, I did say I got to watch the first couple drives of the game because I got to see.
You did say that. But
I got to see
the one thing I needed, I'm like, okay, I know I'm going Seahawks.
Yeah, but is Drake May going to get the protection he needs to get the ball to A.J. Brown? I don't know.
Well, also, they're not a passing team. They have a bunch of running backs.
They're more of a run team.
They have Travion Henderson. They have Ramondre Stevenson. Now, I think A.J. Brown's going to get the targets. But the funny thing is, which is why I think this is more of a Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown relationship issue. It wasn't, and I know week 1 last year, he only got the 1 target against the Cowboys opening night. But at the end of the day, A.J. Brown finished with over 1,000 yards again last year.
Yep.
So,
and he's also been one of the most efficient in both his prior stops.
I mean, he got 1,000 yards. I've always thought he was a fringe top 5 receiver. I always thought he was one of the most underrated players in football.
He was.
And I know you guys are expecting me to be like, oh, F AJ Brown. No,
I'm not expecting that. You know me better than that.
No, I wasn't expecting that from you, Brandon. You're like me, where we're fans of the team, but we're honest. I'm not one to go back to the Myles Garrett stuff. I'm not one of these delusional Browns fans that are like, oh, they're going to be great. They're going to challenge for the division.
Oh, then you're going to love my column that I sent to you, Brandon, and you're going to love reading it whenever it comes out, Josh.
No, I
mean that's in a good way.
To finish off what I was saying, this era, with this trade, the Browns are trying to close this old era of football with the previous head coaches and all that. This era of being stuck on the hamster wheel of losing season, fire head coach, get a new quarterback. It's not going to end until Haslam sells the damn team. It's not going to stop.
Do I want to spoil the news for you? Because I think you're going to find it worse.
Go.
Eventually, it's going to be the son-in-law who takes over for Jimmy Haslam. It's going to be J.W. Johnson, and that's a bad thing.
It's
a bad thing.
I actually had a viewer live comment on my live stream yesterday. Yes, and he said Haslam is as bad as Dan Snyder.
No, those are 2 different classes.
No,
2 different classes, because Dan Snyder was an absolute. I don't even say moron, was an absolute disgusting human being.
All right, guys, we got to wrap up football and we got to get to basketball.
Final quick draw, though. Denzel Ward to Brown for the rest of his career. Yes, no.
No.
5 seconds.
You know what? I agree with Ken Carman. They should be shopping him right now.
All right.
So
there we go.
All right, let's get to basketball. And before we do, I got to say about these NBA finals. Somebody on this panel, both of his teams have been eliminated. One of them was eliminated in the first round. And somebody has gotten almost every single series of these NBA playoffs correct outside of 2 in the first round. And my 2 NBA finals picks are still standing. That being, of course, the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. But before we get there, let's talk about my glorious Saturday night that I had sitting in my basement watching the best player in the world, Victor Wembanyama, take down that free throw merchant Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Josh, you know this. Everybody that was on social media today, hyping our show,
what's
this.
funny, Brandon, is that I had the same thing. I did the ESPN thing. I'm ranked 669, the hundreds, not thousands, I've got the Spurs winning the title.
Well,
I've only had 2 picks wrong, and those were both in that freaking.
You guys actually both know this because Finch, you were filling in for Josh when he was in Germany. I believe it was April 2nd. What did I tell both of you in March and April? I said the San Antonio Spurs are winning the damn championship.
I was shocked back then because I think, or maybe it was earlier in the year, because I'm like, they're this good already.
And I said, and Josh, you asked me, and I had the clip, and I also had the clip where you said Stefan Casso you believe would be the X factor for the Spurs, and you were right on that. But you asked me, you said, are you worried about the Spurs' youth and lack of experience? And I have to admit, when it was getting close to the fourth quarter, did I start to worry? Maybe a teeny tiny bit. Yes. But at the end of the day, Victor Wembanyama, Stefan Casso, and Luke Cornett with the absolute block that they will play in infamy if the Spurs are able to finish this off against the next. Oh, it made me so happy. This is what a real dynasty is supposed to look like, Adam Silver. And now we can't even have it because they're dumb tanking rules.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You, my friend, cannot talk about dynasty.
Yes, I can.
No, you cannot. Because
why not?
Who was it that said the Denver Nuggets were the next dynasty?
Well, yeah, they didn't look like it, and then they fell apart.
That was
wrong.
Oh, Crosby too for that one. He's the owner.
Wait, weren't you also the one saying Oklahoma City could be the next dynasty?
No, I never said they could be the next dynasty.
No,
I said they better.
He did not.
I said they better win the championship this year. That was last year against the Pacers because I said the Spurs were coming.
So you cannot talk to me about dynasties.
Yes, I can talk to you about dynasties because, Josh, your Thunder with your guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is not the next dynasty in the NBA. I kind of feel bad for the Thunder because it's very similar to the Cavs, who were going to have a dynasty, and then Kevin Durant just showed up and ripped it away from us. Well, Victor Wembanyama has shown up and ripped away the dynasty from the Oklahoma City Thunder until, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go out this offseason, and they're going to trade Chet Holmgren for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's going to be the Kevin Durant move to Golden State all over again.
Well, except Durant was a free agent, and he bitched out.
Wait a minute. Do you remember what I texted you after Game 7? What did I say to you, Brandon? Do you remember? What did I say about Wemby?
I remember the tweet you sent me, which said this is Wemby's league now.
Yes, but you responded to a text that I sent you, and you were like, there's still some good teams in the West.
What? Let me see. I remember.
Yeah.
Spurs Thunder is a damn rivalry. That's what you texted me.
Yeah, I said to you, Spurs Thunder was a damn rivalry, and I still believe it is.
It's the start of one.
No, it is officially a rivalry. You will not convince me otherwise.
Well, there's 6 other teams.
I can see where he's coming from, especially with SGA just saying his MVP is basically, it's not the exact words, but basically meaningless season failure. So it's like, I feel like that kind of is the start. We're hitting the start button, but we're like Josh said, I think we're right on that, more so right on the precipice. And
and by the way, who on whatever day it was, I think it was April 14th, Josh, when we made our NBA playoff predictions, who said Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to win MVP? They were going to face the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, and Victor Wembanyama was going to outplay SGA because he was going to say,
rid of the rule.
He was going to say that MVP is mine, and this is my league. And I said it last week on the show. This reminds me of when LeBron went for the 25 straight against the Pistons in 2007, where like Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Steve Nash, they all had the MVPs of the championships, and LeBron didn't have any of it yet, but we all understood LeBron was the best player in the league and was going to be for the next decade plus. That's what Wemby did in this series.
Yeah, Wemby is the next LeBron. He's the next face of the league. It's already set in stone.
No, but again, Wemby was fantastic. I got to give him his credit. For the Spurs to have to deal with Dylan Harper being injured, De'Aaron Fox being injured, and still doing what they did, I was very impressed.
By the way, in Game 7, I thought he had a C+, B- game. I didn't even think he played that well.
But to me, it wasn't just Stephon Castle who was the X factor. It was Vassell. It was Julian Champagny. Those three.
I agree. And by the way, I love the way those guys play basketball because they play like a veteran team, but they're so young. And I've been saying this. This is not your Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, do your job, boring ass Spurs. These are the young, energetic, flashy, hungry Spurs with an ace of humility, and they play the game the right way. And I was very upset at the end of Game 5. Because, Josh, if you do remember when we were doing the show last week with Jay, when I did say I thought it would be tough if the Spurs lost Game 5 to go into OKC again and win a Game 7. But that was until I watched Game 5 and I saw Tony Brothers, who I want investigated.
Oh, my God. Why is he still allowed to ref in the playoffs? Come on.
No, but here's the thing with the Spurs. I thought they lost the series after Game 5 when OKC won that game with J-Dub and AJ Mitchell out. I was like, oh. And I was like, San Antonio has got to win this game. And then they did.
Can I address this real quick? I'm not going to address you guys personally. I'm going to address Thunder fans. For all the Thunder fans that are out there crying, we didn't have J-Dub, we didn't have AJ Mitchell. You lost to a team that you should have beat that were a bunch of babies that don't even have their man body yet. Oh, and by the way, did you not win Game 7 of the finals by hook or by crook? Because the Pacers' best player tore his Achilles minutes into Game 7.
Fair, I'm going to blame the Pacers and Halliburton for that because when you have no lower body workouts, when you have a dangerous injury like that, and we have seen these Achilles blow-ups, I know, it's Game 7. You can't fully blame them, but come on. There has to be a way for the NBA to actually go back to an era where people don't just train their upper bodies, but actually stop going skinny legs.
Well, there's two things to that. Number one, again, and we've talked about this, Fitz. You were on the show on Memorial Day on Brandsport a couple weeks ago. The pace of play, the spacing, it's more intense, all that. But the other thing is, once you're in the playoffs and you get a couple of days off, we know this now during the regular season because a lot of coaches said it. Teams don't practice anymore. Practice is basically shoot around. So you're out there in games trying to figure it out, which is why, and I've told you both this, and Josh, and I know you disagree with me a little bit, but number one, the regular season doesn't matter as much as it used to. And number two, and I will say this, because I think now it is a fact, the last 18 Game 7s, 10 of them have been won by the road team. And I don't think home court advantage matters as much across the board in sports as it used to.
The only time it did in this most recent era of the NBA was with Golden State, with just how loud that arena could get.
I know Fitz, you look at it started on 2021. It started after COVID.
Look at the data. I was thinking of just the 4 straight trips for Cleveland.
Look at the data from 16 to 21, and then
because that's where things changes after the bubble.
Yes.
True.
Josh, you're awfully quiet.
Because I've just been sitting back listening, basically.
Well, did you want to add anything else, or should we go to the finals?
Can we put an APB out for Chet Holmgren? Like, are you that scared of Victor Wembanyama that you're only going to take 2 shots?
Yes, because Victor Wembanyama got mad at him. I guess there was some incident. I think it was before the Olympics a couple years ago, or some scrimmage where
probably a FIBA event. I'm guessing.
Yes, and Wemby took it personally. It's very Jordan-esque, where Wemby's making up his own demons.
But SGA was doing everything he could. Caruso wasn't hitting his shots like he usually had been.
I mean, Caruso hit him in the third quarter. Then, by the way, Jaron McCain came out on fire in the first quarter. But I do agree with you. I thought overall in Game 7, I actually thought SGA somewhat outplayed Wemby. Because, again, I don't think Wemby played that well, which is even more scary, in my opinion, for the rest of the week.
Which,
Yeah.
let me say this again. No disrespect to Wemby. He absolutely deserved to be Western Conference Finals MVP. He was the best player in the series. So don't take this out of context. But to me, the most important player for San Antonio in that series was not Wemby. It was Stephon Castle because he was matched up with SGA and the type of defense Stephon Castle was playing.
No, I actually could agree with that. I actually
Yeah.
can.
Again, I'm not trying to disrespect Wemby. He deserves everything he's getting. But I don't think San Antonio wins that series if they don't have Stephon Castle.
Here's the thing. I don't think San Antonio wins that series if Dylan Harper's out. Or not Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, excuse me. Actually, he was the most valuable player in the series because when he was out, you saw the turnovers for San Antonio rise. And when he was ball handling, De'Aaron Fox is able to calm the nerves down of Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper.
I also think Harrison Barnes was valuable for them in that series. Sure, he didn't get a lot of playing time.
Oh, he's still in the league?
Yes,
and he's on the Spurs. And by the way, he started for the majority of the year. And then Champagne came in.
I thought he was retired by now.
I want to add one more thing, guys. Did you guys notice in Game 7? I know it was in the fourth quarter, and I apologize. I don't remember where it was at. I think it was with 5 minutes left, somewhere around there. When the Spurs call a timeout, Wemby's on the bench. He has 5 fouls. And he's leaning down, and he's talking to who? Not Mitch Johnson, but Bismack Biyombo. And it reminded me a lot of the relationship like Michael Jordan used to have with Phil Jackson, where Michael would just lean into Phil and listen and listen. And again, guys, this guy, I try not to, you guys know me, I exaggerate maybe a little bit sometimes. I try not to be hyperbolic. Victor Wembanyama's ceiling is to make the LeBron Jordan debate irrelevant.
Okay, I'm not ready.
Okay, I can be sold on it. Not quite yet, but I can definitely be sold.
I'm not ready to go there yet. But
I think we are approaching the territory, Josh. So I think there is merit. Not yet. But I think there's merit. There's merit,
okay,
right?
Let me say it like this. I understand why you say that. I'm not ready to get into that argument or even approach that topic. Not ready to do it yet. This is his first appearance in the finals. And I know we're about to get into the finals preview here in a second, just to touch on Stephon Castle and the Spurs overall. Think about who they've had to go through. Sure, they took care of Portland relatively easy in round 1. I get it. But they had to go against an upcoming guard in Denny Avdia. He's not a superstar or anything like that, but I would say he's a very good player with a really good skill set. And then in round 2, they have to go against Anthony Edwards. We know about Ant. He's a superstar, and he's another elite. I shouldn't say elite, but
he's elite. He's elite.
Okay.
Top player in the league.
Okay. And then in round 3, the conference finals, they have to go against SGA. So each round, they've had to go against a more dynamic guard. I think, in my opinion, that helps them going into this series, now that they have to face Jalen Brunson.
Which leads us into the finals, which before we do, Josh, I want you to reiterate your take that you had last week to Fitz that said our friend of the show, Jalen Sandvik, off, because I want to get Fitz's reaction to it. So, Josh, go ahead.
Boy.
Good
boy.
God.
I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to be something.
I've never heard Jalen Sandvik go off like this after a take I've had. But do you realize that in every round of the playoffs, the Knicks' opponents have had to go to a Game 7 while they get, I don't know, a week, 8 or a week or more days off?
I was wondering because, this is where, you could go, I'm not going conspiracy theory, right? This is where, conspiracy theorists could have their fun if they wanted to. If the NBA realized how massively they effed up by putting 8 of the Cavs' first 14 playoff games streaming exclusive only, and half of the Pistons' 14 playoff games streaming exclusive only, and all the prime playoff Fridays, as we can call them, that they went for a maximum Game 7 just out the door wazoo in order to recoup some of that money.
Yep. So
But
for
no,
me,
that's not the take. This is the take. Go ahead.
for me, if the Knicks go on to win a championship, I'm putting an asterisk on it.
I'm not, because the Knicks just went out, they balled, and they're playing against a team like the Knicks have been designed in a different way than most other teams have, because they're the one true core superstar who helped set the stage for all this, Jalen Brunson, right? He isn't even taking the max. He's gone under. It's like Jose Ramirez in baseball. That's what's impressive, and that has allowed the Knicks, as inept as that Dolan is, and as bad of a person as he is, to actually surround Brunson with talent. Like Towns, what? Is Van Vliet still there? Is he in Toronto? Like,
No, Van Vliet's in Houston.
Okay, but to get to the point, it's like Brunson being a literal team player, taking less than he could, has helped enable them to build this team, and a team that was hungry after falling to the Pacers last year. I put a couple asterisks next to the Golden State titles because injuries, KD and LeBron dragged them there like 07. The only one that I feel like they truly earned was that last one.
Okay, fair. I put an asterisk on the Knicks if they win a championship because
how many games though? How many games? Because I think if it goes more than 5 games, I don't think there's an asterisk.
Every single one of their opponents went to a Game 7. And in the case of the 76ers and the Cavs, they had only one day off between Game 7 and then playing the Knicks in New York. At least with the finals, San Antonio had a few days off between Oklahoma City and Game 1, which is tomorrow. But
the Cavs had to do that years ago when they, LeBron's final year here, they had to go to Game 7 in Boston.
And
then they had to play the Warriors.
By the way, Josh, in 2016, the Cavs had to face a Raptors team in the Eastern Conference Finals that went to 2 Game 7s prior to reaching the ECF, and then they faced a Golden State team and went to Game 7 against OKC. So does that deserve an asterisk? Because that is the same argument you're making here for the Knicks.
Also, injury on Houston. Bye-bye. That's the asterisk also there. LA Clippers, injury asterisk. Bye-bye. Cavs, injury asterisk. Bye-bye.
I don't recall the Raptors having to immediately play Game 1 after winning Game 7.
I'm not so sure about that, but I know they went with the Heat in the first round the second round, they went to 7 games of the Heat before the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they went to Game 7 in the first round against the Indiana Pacers.
So here's the bracket. 4-0 Cleveland, first round over Detroit. 4-2 Atlanta over Boston. 4-3 Miami over Charlotte. 4-3 Toronto over Indy. East semis. 4-0 Cavs over Atlanta. 4-3 Toronto over Miami. 4-2 Cleveland over Toronto.
So the Cavs swept their first 2 rounds, kind of like the Knicks did. And then, wait a minute, the Raptors went to 2 Game 7s. Oh, wait, kind of like you're accusing the Knicks of facing.
And here's the funny thing on the other side. Golden State, 4-1. 4-1. Houston, Portland, then versus OKC, 4-3.
Yeah, I'm talking about more so the fact that the Knicks opponents had one day off between the Game 7s, and then they had to immediating turn around.
I'm sure so did the Cavs in 2016 because the scheduling is very similar.
Okay, we're getting.
I'm looking it up.
No, because you're making the same argument, Josh, and it doesn't apply because it doesn't work because it's BS.
I will stand by it, but
you can stand by it all you want. I'll stand by this. Before the NBA playoffs started, we made our prediction. My prediction was Spurs in 5 over the Knicks. And you asked me before the Eastern Conference Finals started, you said, Brandon, Will the Western Conference Finals be the NBA Finals, regardless of who comes out of the East? And I said yes. But the more I watch this Knicks team, the more depth they have, the more appreciation I have for them. I will stick with the Spurs in 5, but I think it could go 6. But I will say this, for all of us as NBA fans, we want this thing to either go 5 games, so it will be a game 5 will be on Saturday night, or we want it to go 7, which would be game 7 on a Friday night. We do not want this thing being a game 6 ending on a Tuesday night.
Also, I love this comment. Cavs should have signed Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese yesterday. I love that comment.
But Josh, I'm sorry, but I must burst your bubble. There was only a game. There was game 7 on May 15th of 2016 for the Raptors in their East semi. They get 1 day off, then they play Cleveland.
God damn it.
Boom.
So sorry, that is busted. Busted.
I'm sending this quote to Jalen, by the way, just so you know.
Whatever. But getting into the actual finals, I think I said Stephon Castle was going to be the X factor for San Antonio in that OKC series. If the Knicks are going to win the championship, it's not, let me say it like this. If the Knicks are going to win the championship, Jalen Brunson's not going to be the most important player. Neither is Cat. It's going to be Josh Hart.
See, a lot of you have said that, and here's what I honest to God believe. If Mitchell Robinson is healthy, he is the one body that they can throw at Wemby that can bang with Wemby. He was not going to stop Wemby, but you got 6 fouls to use. And he's going to be the guy with a broken finger or whatever he has, that if he's not healthy and he can't play, that's a huge missing element for the Knicks, regardless of his free throw woes, because he is a defensive stopper. We've seen that throughout the postseason.
I agree with you, but if the Spurs are going to employ a similar defensive scheme to what we've seen other teams try to do against the Knicks, they're going to force Josh Hart, I should say, to make the outside shot.
It's not just going to be Josh Hart. It's going to be Landry Shaman. It's going to be OG Anunoby. It's going to be those other guys, the role players that are going to have to make threes. If they hit their threes, they can win this series if they can hit them consistently. The other thing is this.
It's Josh Hart that primarily stands out of that group for me. Because
the other thing is this, Josh. I know you value the regular season more. Since February, I think the Spurs only had 3 regular season losses, and one of them I know was in Madison Square Garden. I know the Knicks beat them by 20. I know it was a Sunday afternoon game. How will the young Spurs be able to handle that crowd environment when I believe it would be, Monday night, game 3 in MSG?
Yeah, and by the way, I love that they put the Larry O'Brien trophy back on the court. NBA Finals.
Yes.
Well, we bullied Adam Silver into doing that. I mean, let's be honest.
It actually feels like the NBA Finals again.
Well, you know what else feels like the NBA? But we have 2 big markets and 2 big brands, not the Pacers and the Thunder.
Yeah. I'm scared though, because if New York wins, the city is going to burn down. If the Knicks lose, the city is going to burn down. So New York will never be the same after this series.
Well, I somewhat disagree, because this is the best season the Knicks have had easily since 1999. And I defended them moving on from Tom Thibodeau, and I liked the hire of Mike Brown. I said at the time, I thought he was the perfect hire for the franchise at that time. I thought he was a shift stealer, and Mike Brown's an excellent job. And again, I will say this up front. I know, Josh, you feel differently. I don't hate the Knicks. I actually enjoy the way the Knicks play, this version of the Knicks play basketball. I think that they're fun to watch, and I will not be upset if the Knicks win the championship.
Oh, I will be. But
I don't want that scumbag owner to get a title.
Yeah. I can't stand the Knicks fan base. I hate Dolan. I will
I
never
respect Brunson and Cat.
I will never forgive them for the 2023 first round series. They beat us in a regular season game here in Cleveland on ESPN, where they lost Jalen Brunson due to an injury. The Christmas game, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks, you have reached a level of dislike for me that you will never come back from. I repeat, never.
I can't wait till the Cavs lose a first round matchup against every single team in the Eastern Conference, because then you'll just hate every team of the week. You won't have to watch sports anymore.
Do you want to know something that I was doing earlier today and I did some research into? 19 of the last 35 or so years, the Cavs have qualified for the playoffs. Just this decade, I excluded the quirky 99-2000 season from that count. So, like, the last 26 years, you've qualified for the playoffs. No, it's because it's technically played in 2 different centuries.
Oh, okay. Got you.
But basically, from the 26 years this century, 01 to this just completed Cavs campaign for them, they have qualified for the playoffs 13 times. How many times do you guys think they've lost in the first round out of those 13 times they've qualified?
I'm going to guess 1 because of the first year against the Knicks with Mitchell and those guys when they lost in 5 games.
Josh?
That's the only one I remember.
I know we didn't lose against the Wizards in any of those opening series with LeBron, and we almost lost that series against Indiana. But
they didn't. I don't think they made the playoffs prior to LeBron, so that's why I'm going to say 1.
Yeah,
just 1. Again, this is 2001 playoffs through this year's playoffs,
and it was 2023 against the Knicks first round.
Yeah.
And you want to know something a little funnier, especially about, like, what was it? As I said before, 19 out of 35. If you go back and add in like 1992. East Finals is where they exited. 93 East semis instead, 1 round earlier that next year. I mean, basically, like, outside of that, like, they had a 3-year, like, they went to the East Finals, East semis, 3 straight losses in 3 straight years in a row from 94 to 96 in the first round for the Cavs. Didn't make it 97, lost in the first round in 98. Didn't lose again in the first round until the Knicks series.
All right, who's your guys' finals MVP? Because I do want to get to the draft lottery.
Oh God, it's gonna be Wemby, or it's probably gonna be I don't know on the Spurs. It's up in the air right now for me. I don't know.
Most likely, if the Spurs win, it's gonna be Wemby, but I'm gonna stick with my guy, Stephon Castle.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. It will.
For me, it is the guy who is the best player on God's green earth at playing the game with a round ball basketball, Victor Wembanyama. And I think you could make a case, my guess is, just like in 2015, when people were trying to make the case that LeBron could have been the MVP on a losing finals team when
he should have been.
When he had everybody in every statistical category, you might be able to make that case from Wemby in this series, even if they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I'll just say this. Even though we lost to the Spurs in 2007 in the finals, I've never held a grudge against the San Antonio.
I don't understand the difference. You got to help.
I don't either. It's like we were not expected to win. We were the underdogs going into that.
I've never held a grudge against the Spurs because I have way too much respect for Greg Popovich. Tim Duncan's one of my all-time favorite players. Tony Parker was great to watch. Manu Ginobili, David Robinson, Bruce Bowen. That
feels so weird that
but we were not supposed to win against this Knicks team, Josh. I think that's what you're missing.
Yeah. That's the point.
I have my own reasons. You don't have to understand them, but I'm sticking with my guns.
Fair enough. All right, let's get to Adam Silver's ludicrous idea that tanking is an issue, because it's not. In what world, in what sport should the team with the worst record in the association have worse odds than the 4th worst record in the league to get the number 1 overall pick in the draft? Listen, I know, Josh, you don't understand the tanking logic or the new rule at all, so I'm going to
We've
try
been
to.
through it a few times already here.
I'm going to try and dissect it for you, which is basically if you have the three worst records in the league, you have the same amount of odds. But if you have 4 through 10, have better odds of getting the number one overall pick in the draft than 1 through 3. You also cannot get back-to-back number one picks, and you cannot have back-to-back 3 straight years top 5 picks, which also means this year the Memphis Grizzlies get screwed because they made a trade with the Utah Jazz for Jared Jackson, where it's unprotected, and now the best it can land is 6. And here's the deal, okay? The NFL
the trade shit is even worse. That's what makes it even worse from my perspective.
You know what we loved yesterday about the fact that Myles Garrett and AJ Brown got traded is that it was easy to follow. It was easy compensation. There was no, once the report came out of what the picks were, there was no guessing. It was, and it's stars get traded, and we want to talk about that as fans. With this NBA now, you got exceptions and Larry Bird rules, and
the Larry Bird rule's been around for a good while. That one is like that. That's
trade rights, and it's too hard for fans to follow, and guys don't get traded anymore, and free agency is not a big thing anymore.
Well, I'd say guys get traded too often that it's so hard to follow. I mean, Steven Adams,
I'm talking about outside of Kevin Durant, obviously.
James Harden, he's been traded so many times too.
I mean, but they're old guys, right? They don't feel like stars.
But
now,
there's
maybe
also
Giannis,
who is the one young guy who's been traded a few times already now?
Maybe Giannis is the exception to the rule this offseason. I don't know. But my point is, how in the hell are the Wizards, the Nets, the Kings, these bad franchises, supposed to get better when they have no avenue now to get better?
It almost feels akin to, I know this is a little bit of baseball here, but let me make this clear. When Major League Baseball's owners made a counteroffer to the union just the other day with a hard salary floor, which I liked, but with a hard cap. The hard cap is basically what the NBA is trying to do with draft picks, except, in terms of it'll still punish small market teams in that you will eventually have to trade away if you're Tampa, if you're Cleveland, if you're Milwaukee, if you're Kansas City. If you draft well, develop well, you can't re-sign all your guys, and some of those big stars are still going to find their way to New York, LA, etc., with a hard cap in Major League Baseball. And that's what it feels like they're going with the NBA as like the best analogy I can make. It's like with this reform, it's like you're giving the smaller markets no avenue forward to actually better themselves. And that's what sucks. It's like, get rid of this freaking proposal, get rid of the freaking 65 game rule, or at least broaden it where injuries happen. So you shouldn't be penalized if especially if a Kelly Olynyk thing ever happened again. It's like, come on. This
Kelly Olynyk is with the Spurs, by the way.
That's right.
I would flip the bird, but I know we're live, so no. But no, it's just we're over managing it at this point. It's like simple. Okay.
I have no opinion on this.
Really? You have no opinion?
No.
Whoa.
See, I think this is horrible. I get Adam
0 out of 10.
Fitz, me and you, we did a podcast on this on Memorial Day. I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
We talked about this is not the issue with the NBA.
Exactly.
But again, he's covering up for it because he doesn't want to go on when Pat McAfee did the spectacular last week and he had on all the commissioners. Of course, he's not going to come out and say flopping's an issue and all that because he doesn't want it to be attention for during the finals. And so this is their way of band-aiding something.
Yeah.
I don't know how the owners are all on board with this, if that is what I heard right and is correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
There was one team that was not on board, and it was for obvious reasons. It's Memphis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still don't get it. Why would Dan Gilbert even agree to this?
Well, I think it's because the league thinks that teams were tanking, which was sure they were tanking this year because it's a great draft. That's why they were tanking.
Yeah, and plus sometimes when you get screwed over by, a guy you develop, you think you're going to win a title, and then bye-bye.
Oh, and by the way,
when that happens, it's like you're back to the bottom of the barrel often.
By the way, the NFL is the one sport that doesn't have a lottery, and I know, Josh, you talked about the Browns have been irrelevant in 20 years. They still made the playoffs twice. You can rebuild quickly in the NFL. You can't rebuild quickly in basketball.
Baseball, sometimes that can take a while unless you hit on a bunch of various factors.
Correct, but generally, once you're good for a long time, and it's understood.
Hello, White Sox. Go from one of the best teams in the AL to the most losses in ever.
Fitz, I think we're gonna have to kick you out because we're gonna talk about some Akita and we're gonna talk about some wrestling to end the show.
One thing though, because I know I shared this news with you, Brandon. So those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, aka Elon at Fitz on Sports BSR, I've posted a little bit about our pup Ozzy that we got back last year in August. Well, Ozzy now has a little brother of his own. I would like you guys, and I don't know if the picture will come out clear enough. I'd like for you guys to meet this 5-month-old Bernedoodle named Max. He's a little fluffy bear.
Oh, very cute.
I was working downtown last week Thursday, and I was like surprised when mom sent me a photo. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay, wait, Fitz, before you go.
Yeah.
I want to get into something, and we don't have this in the rundown, and we don't have it in the topic bar, but oh well. It sounds like the Chicago Bears are on the verge of not only moving out of Chicago, but moving out of Illinois and going to Hammond, Indiana.
I hope they still stay in Illinois, but gosh darn it. Oh, hate it. That's all I have to say. I absolutely hate this. You cannot call them Chicago. You're going to have to call them the Hammond.
Yes. I will say this. If the Chicago Bears move to Hammond, Indiana, Bears fans should boycott their games because the Bears belong in Chicago.
Also, Brandon, you may know more than this than us. Wouldn't this kind of infringe on the Colts a little?
I would think so.
Technically, yeah, the Colts are in Indiana.
No, but I mean, wouldn't there be I guess, you got two teams out in LA, but you know what I mean? How there's certain things where it's you don't want to have a team move into a certain geographical range. Wouldn't that kind of be the same scenario here? Or am I thinking wrong?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure, but I would guess.
From what I understand, Fitz, it's kind of similar to why the city of Milwaukee can't have an NHL team because the Chicago Blackhawks won't allow it.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why the Athletics weren't allowed to move into San Jose all those years, all of last decade, or even just when they were trying to find a fix there.
Yeah. But I hate this. The Chicago Bears belong in Chicago. Even if they were to move to Arlington Heights, that's okay. It's close enough to Chicago.
Yeah. It's basically Brook Park. It's Santa Clara. It's all these other places.
Yeah. But if you move to Hammond, Indiana, I'm sorry.
We have a problem.
I'm sorry, but if they go through with that, I will lose all respect I have for the Chicago Bears. I will. You can't do that, especially when you're coming off of the type of season they just had where they had all these great moments with Caleb.
There has to be a tipping point where the NFL realizes they're going to lose a major market and they can't afford that.
Yes, I agree with you.
I'm not saying it's right. I obviously agree with you guys that it's wrong. The problem is this.
But the money.
You never say never, and the Browns once moved. So
that was different with Art Modell, and you know it.
Well,
come on. Modell shouldn't have ever been allowed to move, and yet he was allowed. Same thing with the Colts from Baltimore to Indy. The original Irsay dragged them out overnight.
Well, I was all right. Baltimore ended up getting a team. Granted, it was at the expense of the Browns.
There's a Browns update actually here.
Go.
I don't know if this was reported for the 2029 third rounder is a conditional one.
Interesting.
So what's the condition? Can it get upgraded
I don't
to
know.
a second?
It just came. Daryl Ryder just posted this within the last 2 minutes now.
But I will say this. It's interesting. Like, look at what the Tennessee Titans are doing. They are leaning so heavily into this Houston Oilers stuff. It's crazy. Like, they only wear the Oilers jerseys when they play the Houston Texans. You look at their new logo, they got rid of the flames, and the colors on it are screaming Houston Oilers. Like, you are the Tennessee Titans. Be your own team. On the flip side, I do like that when the Colts moved from Baltimore to Indy, they stayed with the colors. They stayed with the name Colts because it gave Indianapolis something.
Maybe we should have just let Baltimore have the Browns name and we could have come up with something better, maybe less pain.
So, Brandon, I know that wasn't in the rundown, but I know Fitz likes to talk about that type of stuff. So
hey, I'm happy you brought it up. It's like no disagreements here. It's like screw that. You stay in Chicago or you get relegated.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'll say it again. If the Bears leave Chicago and the state of Illinois altogether, I will lose all respect for them.
Well, again, thank you, Sean, for taking time on your busy schedule tonight to join us, talk all things NFL and NBA. Josh, I'm going to let you take it over because you're the hockey guy in here.
Later, guys. I'll see you soon. Or at least sooner or later.
So, tonight is game 1 of the 2026 Stanley Cup Final. The Vegas Golden Knights, in just their 9th year as a franchise, are already in their 3rd Stanley Cup.
It's been that long. I thought they've only been around for like 5 years.
Nope. They came into the NHL in 2018.
I remember when they came in. I remember the controversy around Vegas getting the hockey team. Damn, am I getting old?
Yeah. And they immediately made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Right.
And lost to the Washington Capitals.
Did they get to the 2nd year or the 3rd year?
No, they didn't make it back to the Stanley Cup until 2023.
Okay.
Where they beat the Florida Panthers in 5 games. And then on the other side, you have got the Carolina Hurricanes. This is the first time the Hurricanes have made the Stanley Cup final in 20 years. They last made the final in 2006.
Well, hey, this is the first Knicks final since 1999, so they've waited longer.
Yeah. But this should be a really, really good series. I think these are the 2 best teams in the NHL. I mean, well, Vegas just swept the Colorado Avalanche, who were the President's Trophy winners.
Yeah.
What is Drake? Yeah, we already talked about that, Jesse. But this should be a great series. You got Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner, who has come on like a bat out of hell. All he needed to do was get out of Toronto. And Carter Hart has been fantastic in goal for Vegas. And then on the other side, you got Andrei Svechnikov. You got Freddie Anderson in goal, Sebastian Aho, and others for Carolina. I would say Vegas has the advantage because a lot of the guys that are on this team were on the championship team in 2023. And I think Vegas is a little bit stronger going down the middle. If I had to make a prediction, I've got Vegas in 6. And I'm going to say the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, which doesn't just take the Stanley Cup final into consideration. It's for all of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's got to be Mitch Marner. I wish the NHL would do what the NBA is doing. Like, put the Stanley Cup trophy behind the home team's logo at center ice. They used to have it that Stanley Cup final was on the ice with the trophy on either end. They've stopped doing that. I hate it. Like, that's what makes the Stanley Cup final so special. We talked about it with the NBA finals. Like, them putting the Larry O'Brien trophy back at center court, having the words, the finals at either end of the court. It tells you this is different. Like, I want the same thing with the Stanley Cup. This is a matchup I didn't know I wanted, but I'm actually really excited for it. Game 1 starts in just like a half an hour or so. So after we get off this show, I'm heading down into my basement and I am going to watch Game 1. So
and who has home ice in Vegas?
Carolina.
Okay. See, my understanding is from the hockey people that I am friends with, not a lot of people are excited about this Stanley Cup because it's two warm cities.
Yes, because it's Vegas and Carolina. I would agree with you. I would agree with them on that one. I mean, Carolina is a favorite, at least for tonight. They are minus 162. Vegas is plus 136. Carolina is coming off beating Montreal in 5. Vegas, like I said, swept Colorado. Carolina has only lost one game throughout this entire Stanley Cup playoffs. They swept Ottawa. They swept Philadelphia. And the only game they lost was game 1 against Montreal.
And then they swept them.
They won the rest of the games.
Yes, after game 1, essentially, gentleman's sweep. You know, I am shocked with, and I know obviously that they have the NBA Finals too, but ESPN has the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and there is little to no promotion. I keep forgetting the NHL players are on it, and I thought NBC wasn't great at promoting it, but at least I knew it was on. Like I keep forgetting the NHL players are on because I barely see it promoted anywhere.
Yeah, with Carolina, I forgot about Taylor Hall. I forgot about Jackson Blake, Nicola Ehlers, Seth Jarvis, Sebastian Aho. Maybe I said him. Jordan Stahl, who won a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins way back in 2009. Jacob Slavin is still there. This is a really good Carolina team, and I'm proud of them for finally breaking through and getting past their Eastern Conference final demons, because they didn't have to deal with the Florida Panthers. They didn't have to deal with the Boston Bruins.
Or the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I know Florida went on a run there where it was Tampa and then the regular Florida team.
Yes. So absolutely tune in for the Stanley Cup final. You know what's interesting is tonight is the Stanley Cup final, then tomorrow is the NBA finals, and then it goes back to the Stanley Cup final. Which, like you said, every game is on ABC. Next year, the Stanley Cup final will be on TNT, so it alternates every year.
Which broadcast would you rather have?
Oh boy. I feel like TNT does a little bit better job with the NHL because they have Wayne Gretzky on there. They have Henrik Lundqvist on there. Paul Bissonnette, and others who who played the game, were great players. Wayne Gretzky, we know, the great one. Henrik Lundqvist is one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, without a doubt. I like TNT's coverage a little bit more, but ESPN does a fine job. I understand why, on shows like First Take and Get Up and others, they don't really get into hockey because,
Well, I understood it when they didn't have NHL rights, but now that they do, I thought they should at least cover it. I mean, they don't even mention it. Barely at the end. It's like, who's winning tonight? Oh, this team.
Yeah, they have, Get Up has PK Subban on a little bit to talk about the NHL, but
I mean, I know McAfee talks about it, but McAfee's audience is a completely different audience than anybody.
Oh, I know. but I would absolutely tune in for the Stanley Cup final. They both won their divisions, although Vegas only had 39 wins. And you look over in the Eastern Conference, there were like 4 or 5 teams who had more wins than Vegas, and yet they missed out on the Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's funny. Well, I don't know how much you watched of Clash in Italy, if at all, but I thoroughly enjoyed it outside of the opening match. I won't say that. I did not like the finish of Cody and Gunther. I've never liked the idea of if you put your foot underneath the bottom rope, it's the same as a rope break. I disagree with that, and I think it's lazy booking. But besides that, thought Jade and Rhea absolutely delivered. Great match. Oba and Brock. Yes, Brock Lesnar won, but by God, Oba Femi is getting more and more over. I truly believe Oba Femi in WWE is kind of like what Victor Wembanyama is in the NBA, where he's just a giant that you've never seen before and has this ability that we may never see again. I thought So and Becky put on a phenomenal match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think So Ruka is getting more and more over by the day. And then
Can I just address that super quick?
Go ahead.
Because yesterday on Raw, Lyra Valkyria finally addressed the Intercontinental Championship and is like, I can actually challenge for it because Becky's not the champion. Guess what? When AJ Lee was the champion, you could have challenged for it, Lyra. When Maxine Dupree was the Intercontinental Champion, guess what? You could have challenged for it, Lyra. So I like that they addressed it and they stuck with that stipulation. I appreciate that. But, like, what are we doing? You had plenty of other opportunities. Why are you just now getting back to that? That's all I want to say.
Maybe because she was too focused on the tag team on Bayley at the time. And then, of course, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, like you, Josh, tired of the bloodline. They're sick of running back the bloodline. It's the same story. They're recycling. Oh, I don't care. Okay? Roman Reigns is WWE's version of Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whoever you want to say. He is outside of John Cena. He is the current GOAT. Everything he touches turns into gold, turns into cinema, and we are 100% slowly but surely getting the bloodline back together, and all the feelings from 2022 and 2023 are coming back with Roman running the bloodline, the Usos shake up Batu. Now maybe he'll make Solo Sikoa get back with the bloodline, and we can have the whole family back together.
Wait, so does that mean Sami Zayn has to go back to being an honorary Uso again?
You know, I truly thought at Night of Champions, because Saudi Arabia is Sami Zayn's hometown, I thought a really good match could be Roman and Sami for the World Championship. Where, you know, Roman, maybe he sends Jey Uso over to SmackDown like he did to target Cody Rhodes. And maybe there's a scenario where, like, you know, Jey doesn't win the King of the Ring tournament, but he runs into Sami Zayn. Sami starts running his mouth about how the bloodline never respected him, about how Roman Reigns never truly meant him as an honorary use. And then Roman gets involved and says, no, Sami, I really want you to be a part of my family. And that's how you book a match for Night of Champions.
It seems like Sami is going after Cody, though.
So, yeah, you know, I will say this. At this point in time, it's a good thing, I think. I do not know who's going to win the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments.
Okay, with that, why is Liv Morgan in that tournament? She's a freaking champion. What the hell?
Because she wants all the gold. They've done it in the past. Hell, why are champions allowed to enter the Royal Rumble? But, you know, there was a situation a couple years ago where Charlotte Flair was the women's champion and she was in the Royal Rumble because she wanted to get the other title at WrestleMania.
Wasn't Brock Lesnar the WWE champion when he went into the
Royal
Rumble?
2020 when which was one of the best Royal Rumbles of all time.
Yeah, when McIntyre ended up winning. But I respectfully don't like that. It's just one of those things that it doesn't make sense to me. But I'll let it play out. I will let it play out. But I personally don't like it. I did not get to watch Clash in Italy, but I know everything that happened. It seems like they're teasing something between Roman and Cody. we'll see where that goes.
Maybe, I mean, do you dare do that at Crown Jewel in Saudi?
Maybe. I feel like WWE has got to get their momentum back. Not that it's like,
I think they're starting to.
yeah.
I really do. I think, listen, I've said it. Post WrestleMania, you can slowly see it coming back, especially on Raw. I don't know what they're doing on SmackDown at the time. I'll be honest, I really don't. But Raw has been a really good show. I thought last night's Raw was maybe the Raw of the year. Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker put on an incredible match. Both Fatal 4-Way King and Queen of the Ring matches were incredible. The Roman Jacob Fatu acknowledgement ceremony was great. And yeah, are they playing back the Bloodline? Yes, because it works. And the fan reaction is still there like it never was 4 years ago. I don't care what people on the internet say, and you can say you're tired of it, but you're still watching it.
Yeah. No, trust me, I understand what you're saying. And to a certain degree, I agree with you. If you know something works, go back to it.
By the way, I also think there's a chance now that Finn Balor has reportedly moved to SmackDown. I keep hearing a rumor that Judgment Day could be coming back with Priest, Balor, Rhea, and maybe R-Truth.
Oh God. No, I don't want that again. I want Damian Priest back in the singles division. I liked his rawness.
I did too, but the hard part is, who are you going to put him up against? Why do you think CM Punk is off television right now? Because there's literally not a storyline for him right now.
I know it's hard. I get it. No, overall, I will say this. Wrestling's in a really good spot with both WWE and AEW.
And the funny part is, we didn't say that a couple months ago. Because even you were saying, I know you were positive about AEW's momentum, but we were both looking at it. Was it around the Royal Rumble that we both said both companies are in a rough spot right now?
Yeah.
Because I remember we had that conversation.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the whole Mick Foley coming to AEW.
I was going to ask you actually because I watched it and I think this is the match of the year and the feud of the year. Did you watch Match vs. Match in AAA?
Yes.
What do you think?
I loved it. I thought it was an absolute war. I didn't realize it was a no DQ match. I thought it was just a regular standard match with the mask versus mask stipulation or whatever word you want to use attached to it. So I thought it was fantastic. I think it was the right decision for Chad Gable to lose his mask. I want him, you know where I want him? Back in the Intercontinental title.
I 100% agree. Maybe you do this thing where, his whole point of being El Grande Americano was to learn how to beat luchadors. Maybe at SummerSlam in his hometown of Minneapolis, he's the one that beats Penta.
I would do that. I would love to see Gable get a run with the Intercontinental Championship. And then, oh my God, I would love to see this feud. Please give it to me. Chad Gable, Ethan Page.
Well, my problem is actually in the mid card, there's so many people right now that deserve that Intercontinental Championship. From Enter the Champion to a Javon Evans to an Ethan Page to a Chad Gable. I would even argue I wouldn't even mind seeing the title on a guy like a JD McDonough. See what he can do if you put him in a singles run. A Rey Mysterio who has seemingly turned back the clock. They're finally starting to use Rusev again, who I think has been underutilized since he came back. He was mostly sitting in catering for that first year, and I think he's a valuable heel. The mid-card division, I just think the rosters are so unbalanced right now. Raw has all the stars.
And yet, WWE consistently forgets about the Women's United States Championship.
Oh, by the way, a guy like LA Knight, who could be an Intercontinental Champion, he could be a World Champion. Maybe you put Jey Uso, get him back in the singles comp. You could theoretically put him in an IC title feud. There's a lot you can do with that title.
Yeah, I don't.
Where's a guy like Sheamus been, by the way? I don't know where he's been, but that was obviously his story for the past few years, which he's wanted to get another title match.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they're doing with the men's United States Championship. It's obviously
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. You know, that is my today. I haven't even told you this. That when in sports, like somebody is getting their ass kicked, like the Spurs kicked the Thunder's ass in Game 6. I texted my brother and I said the Spurs are whooping that trick.
I love it.
That's my new thing. Instead of whooping someone's ass, it's whooping that trick.
That's fantastic. I love it. No, Trick has been fantastic since he's gotten to the main roster. I hope he becomes world champion at some point. It's got to happen. I think he should win the Royal Rumble next year. That's my early prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do. They have too many stars on the roster. Randy Orton's sitting at home.
Yeah, I don't get it. Maybe it's because of his injury, but it just like
Randy and Punk are sitting at home because it's like they got to be the world title picture, but we can't do a rematch with everybody.
I know, but it's just weird that like at WrestleMania, they did the whole post-match angle with Randy punting him and slamming him in the face with the title and all that. And
yeah, I thought Randy was going to return at Clash in Italy and cost Cody the title, and I thought Gunther was going to be the champion. But I don't know. There's a rumor going around right now that maybe they get back to Roman and Seth at SummerSlam, that maybe like Brock costs Oba the King of the Ring finals to Rollins, and they run Roman and Rollins back. But I don't know. I don't know what you do with Cody. Cody still has to face Sammy, Gunther again, Randy again.
Yeah. That's part of my issue with WWE though. And the way they like have structured things. It's like we're coming off of Clash in Italy, and it's like, oh, we only have 3 weeks to build to Night of Champions. That's where I think AEW generally has a bit of an advantage. And I'm not even saying that because I'm an AEW fan more so than WWE.
No, I hear that because I somewhat agree with you. I think it depends, right? Like I don't mind it being 3 weeks away from King of the Ring because the King of the Ring is kind of its own thing.
No, I'm just saying that more as a general thing. Like, I brought this up to you immediately after WrestleMania. I'm like, why are we doing Backlash so soon? Like, I personally didn't like that. You wanted.
Yeah. I mean, I know. And they had 3 events in May, and I agree with this. I don't like the Saturday night's main event structure. And I don't know if it's because of the contract they signed that it has to be in this, but like, it doesn't make sense why they're doing it the week before a big PLE. That just doesn't make sense to me. And listen, I will say they did what they could with 3 events in 3 weeks, but it's their fault. And I agree with you. I don't like it, but I actually think, again, we joked about it. The Saturday night's main event card was the most skippable card I think they may have ever put on. But if you watched it and you were there, it was a good show. And I think that's mostly all they care about because that's all TKO cares about is who's going to pay for these tickets.
Yeah. Like, for example, like AEW, we're building to Forbidden Door. It's like, oh, we had a pay-per-view. Now we're going to have a little bit of time before the next pay-per-view.
Well, no, it's about the same distance because Double or Nothing was the last week in May, and Forbidden Door is the last week in June. So it's about 4 weeks. It's about the same.
Generally, AEW puts more time between their pay-per-views. I know they've started putting more pay-per-views in.
Well, that was in my thing. It used to be a lot more because they used to only do 4. Then it was 6. I think Tony once said he would never get to 12, but I think with Redemption, are they up to 10? Am I right on that?
I don't know. But what I do like is Redemption is going to be in Montreal at the Bell Center, which, you know, that's where WWE has done some of their biggest shows.
Yes.
Like, for example, the most recent big show I can remember with elimination with Montreal was Elimination Chamber, where Sammy faced Roman for the title.
And that was one of those hostile crowds I can remember. They were chanting F you, Roman, before the show even started.
Yes, which
Oh, take me back to that time.
was
period.
it? Wait, oh, wasn't there like a Saturday night's main event or something?
Yes,
else?
this past January, Sammy won the Fatal 4-Way.
Yes.
With Trick, Randy, and Priest, and then would face McIntyre at the Rumble. But
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. Isn't AEW All In and then All Out a week apart?
It was. I don't think it's going to be that way anymore.
Did they move All Out back? Because I know it used to be Labor Day weekend.
I want to say they did move it back. By the way, you brought up Redemption. That's their second of 3 pay-per-views they're doing this year in Canada, because they did Dynasty in Vancouver. Redemption is in Montreal. Wrestle Dream is going to be in Toronto.
Which I keep hearing that's where Edge's or Copeland, if you want to call him that, his retirement match is going to be.
Yes. I think it's interesting that they are doing 3 pay-per-views in Canada. And I don't know if you got a chance to watch Double or Nothing. I thought it was a fantastic show.
No, I mean, I saw clips of it. I did not watch it. I will tell you right now, if it is true that, and I will call him Edge, because that's what I will always call him. If
That's fine. I got nothing. I have no issue with you saying
just like
that.
you call Royce Keys Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yes.
I will be calling Cope Edge.
That's okay.
That if his last match is in Toronto at Wrestle Dream, if it's on a Saturday, I would definitely order it and watch it. If
Fair.
it's on a Sunday, which I think it might be, conflicting with football, I will more than likely just find a way to watch that match.
You know what? I can respect that. But with Double or Nothing having as good of a show as they did, I know Madison Square Garden is like firmly WWE. I get it. Do you think there's any chance AEW could ever get into Madison Square Garden?
You know what? I think Jim Cornette actually made a great point talking about it, and I kind of agree with him. They shouldn't want to go to Madison Square Garden.
Why not?
They should make Arthur Ashe and the other venues they've done in New York their thing, because it costs a lot to rent out Madison Square Garden, and they will make double the profit doing one show at the other New York locations and even Barclays Center compared to what they will make in MSG. I believe in the New York crowd and all that they could, sell out or get close to it in Madison Square Garden. But I think for AEW, until they actually become profitable and until their next TV deal is certain, they shouldn't be taking any risk right now.
Which I understand. Interestingly, AEW is going to be in Youngstown, I believe, this Saturday for Collision.
That's got to be the first time they're there, right?
I think they've run Youngstown in the past. They've announced they're going to be in Detroit coming up in July or so, but they haven't announced anything for Cleveland yet, which is weird because they usually do at least one Dynamite in Cleveland every year. I went to Dynamite last year. It was on the road to Forbidden Door.
They usually do a double taping, right, of Dynamite and Collision now.
No. That they've been doing that more the past few weeks. I'm not entirely sure why, but they have been doing that. That's not usually how it works, though. It's usually Dynamite is its own show, and then Collision is its own show.
Well, they've been doing Dynamite Collision 3 hours together.
Yes. I guess I'm assuming that's what you were referring to.
No, I was assuming to the fact that Dynamite, is the normal show, and then they tape Collision, even though it airs on Saturday, they tape Collision after Dynamite in the same building Dynamite was in.
Yeah, they have done that in the past. Most of the time, Collision airs live on Saturday nights. But as you mentioned, yes, recently they've been doing a lot of these shows where Dynamite goes right into Collision all in the same show. I don't totally understand why. It might be because Collision airs on TNT and TNT has some other programming going on Saturday night. I don't want to speak for that because I'm not Warner Brothers, so I don't know. But
well, we knew this was going to be a massive show. And I think, besides our NFL and prediction show that we do every year, this was our longest show ever.
I would say so.
We've gone an hour 45 minutes. Our typical shows are somewhere between an hour 15 and an hour 30. So for all of you guys that have stood in there and hung out with us tonight, thank you. And I want to say shout out to my mama today. Happy birthday to my mom. June 2nd is a wonderful day here in the Lewis household. So thank you for giving me this platform for me to do this show with the one and only Josh Ungar. We will be back next week where we will be coming off the heels of Game 3 of the NBA Finals, as well as, if my math is correct on that, Josh, would it be also Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals? Maybe Game 4? Probably Game 4 will be Tuesday, right?
Nope. Game 4 is Tuesday. Correct.
Yeah, so we will be coming off the heels of both Game 3s, previewing Game 4s and the rest of this year, as well as anything else that happens in sports. Make sure you tune in then. I hope you enjoyed the long show tonight. Thank you for Sean Fitzgerald for stopping by for the first hour, and somehow we've gone another half hour, 45 minutes without Fitz. But here we are, and thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and have a good one. We'll see you guys next week on episode 126.
Enjoy the Stanley Cup Final between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. Enjoy the NBA Finals, New York Knicks, San Antonio Spurs, rematch of 1999.